Okay, so what we have here is 21, okay? So 2a over b minus 3c over b equals d. We want to get b on its own. B. Now, to get b on its own, what we're going to do is we need a common denominator here. So what happens? B and then b on the top. And then what happens then? Cancel the three b's. Now, looking to get b on its own. So what's stopping the b from being on its own is the presence of the d. If we move the d, it's currently being multiplied by b. So if we divide 2a minus 3c by d, we get the answer for b. Okay. B equals 2a minus 3c all over d. Now, what happens next, guys, is u squared plus 2as equals phi squared. We want to get a on its own. Okay, so what leaves first? The u squared goes to the other side. 2as equals phi squared minus u squared. What happens next? The 2 and the s divide underneath. So a equals phi squared minus u squared all over 2s. And that's that one done. Question 24. Dylan, what's the problem with this one here? What's the problem with this one here? As in, did they have the same denominator? So how'd you get them the same denominator? Okay. And after you put them all over 4? Okay, and after that? Not just, you can do, just give me 1 second with that. 2c times 4? 8c. Now, which letter do you want on its own? C. Why don't we move the 8c to the left and the 4a to the right? And what do we get? Minus 8c goes from the right hand side to the left hand side. Plus 8c. B minus. Okay. And then finally to get c on its own. Okay. Everybody right with that? Okay. Now, 27. And after 27 is done, we're going to go for 29. 26, okay. I'll do 26 instead of 27 then, okay. 26, okay, is phi equals 1/3 multiplied by pi r squared h. Like in the previous questions, it's 1 multiplied by everything here. And what Cameron said earlier on, it doesn't really matter. It's just going to be pi r squared h all over 3. And then we put the phi over 3 as well. And then the 3's cancel. What letter do we want on its own? So 3v equals pi r squared h. This pi r squared is the problem. It's currently being multiplied by the h on the right hand side of the equals. What happens when we move it to the left hand side of the equals? Goes into division. 3v over pi r squared h. Or sorry, pi r squared. It's not actually that bad. Okay. Now 29 is I'd say the first one that's slightly different, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to end up with more than one q. There's going to be 2 q's. Okay? When there happens to be 2 q's, what you need to do is bring them both to one side and factorize every time. So for questions 28, 29 and 30, you're going to get the same letter happening twice. When that happens, you move both those letters to the one side and factorize. You'll see it now. So, Jack, what is the lowest common denominator for this one? This one here? Q again. What happens to the q's on the bottom? Cancel. The whole point of the question is to get q on its own. What's stopping? How many different q's do we have? Two. They're in two different locations. So what we're going to do is we're going to move them both over one side. So can anybody tell me what happens when you move them over one side? PQ minus QR equals minus T. Nearly okay. Because there's two of them. Yeah? There's one here and one here. Anytime that happens to you, factorize. Q into, yeah, equals. Now, what happens next, guys, is Q multiplied by P. QP, Q multiplied by R. Oh, sorry. My fault. I'm actually going back to the previous step if I do that. Q, huh? Shh. Nearly. You're getting the Q on its own. So Q is being multiplied by P minus R on the left hand side of the equals. Therefore, when the P minus R makes its way to the right hand side of the equals, it goes under it. Well done, Lee. That's an answer, okay? Now, somebody in the class may have done this a slightly different way, and you'll end up with the correct answer, but you might not know it's the correct answer. Remember what I told you guys, where if you multiply the top and bottom of a fraction by the same number, it doesn't actually affect the value of the fraction. Do you remember that? What happens if we multiply top and bottom by minus 1? What happens? We get plus T over minus P plus R, which is the same thing as T over R minus P. So one person could get this answer, one person could get this answer. Neither one of you have actually made a mistake. They're both correct. So sometimes your answer may be different than the back of the book. Still doesn't mean you haven't got it right. If it's not the same as the back of the book, multiply the top and bottom by minus 1. Is that alright? Okay. Would you like me to do one more of that type, that difficulty? Okay. What's the big difference between this question and previous questions? You come out of two of the same type. That's going to happen in 28, 29 and 30. Let's try number 30. Okay, Lee, what you start off with 30? You want to get Z on its own, so what's going to happen first? Get lowest common denominator? Okay, Z on the bottom, Z on top. That's question 30. Okay. Okay, now what happens next? You want both Z's on the same side. So which means? So what's beside the ZX now? Yeah. And what's on the other side? Okay. You have two Z's. How do you turn two Z's technically into one? Factorize. Then after that? Yeah. Then after that? You want to get Z on its own? Yeah. Okay.